What if your deepest love for Jesus led you not deeper into Christianity, but to a faith you never expected? This is the story of a journey from Catholicism to Islam, a quest for truth, justice, and the real identity of Jesus that challenges everything we thought we knew. My journey toward Islam began with a profound love for Jesus. I wanted to understand who Jesus truly was, beyond the stories I'd been told. This love stirred something deep within me, a call to seek the truth about him. It was through this love that I started to realize that Jesus could not be God, because that would contradict the oneness of God, a concept I found increasingly compelling. Many people don't realize that Islam wasn't just spread by the sword, as is often misunderstood. Coming from a Latin American background, I knew Christianity had been forced on many through conquest and coercion. For me, embracing Islam was different. It was a conscious, heartfelt choice. When I took my Shahada, the declaration of faith, I began with the first part, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. But that raised questions in my mind. Was the Prophet Muhammad really the Antichrist, as some had warned me? Was he a false prophet? These doubts weighed heavily because I had been taught that no prophet comes after Jesus. Yet, as I studied more deeply, I saw how the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had built a community grounded in faith and justice. The Muslim community became my family, my refuge. I was born in the United States into a family divided between Catholicism and Protestantism, growing up caught between two Christian traditions. My early teens were marked by personal struggles and a harsh reality filled with crime and social decay. The world I saw seemed dark and chaotic, and I wrestled with the meaning of faith in such a world. By my late teens, I felt a pull to escape the chaos by devoting myself to religious life. I even considered becoming a monk before settling on studying to become a priest. During those 2.5 years studying for the priesthood, I encountered more than just Christian teachings. I studied philosophy and other religions. This broadening of knowledge stirred deep questions. I began to wonder how religion truly connects with everyday life, family, and society. The Christianity I had been taught emphasized detachment from the world, implying that people married or living in society had a lesser form of faith. This didn't resonate with me. I reflected on the struggles of prophets like Abraham, and Moses, who preached the oneness of God, only to see that Christianity now described God as a human being. This contradiction troubled me deeply. As I read the Psalms, I confronted the idea that God created evil, something that Christian theology seemed to interpret differently. This pushed me toward a deeper understanding of Tawhid, the oneness of God. There was confusion about Jesus too. Unlike the detailed and clear historical records about the Prophet Muhammad, Jesus' true identity was shrouded in uncertainty and faith-based interpretations. And then there was the question of millions of people of other faiths. Were they truly condemned? These questions propelled me toward Islam. My love of Jesus was the initial spark that led me on this path. It drove me to explore his real story, his teachings, and ultimately led me to Palestine, where I first heard the Adhan, the call to prayer, which became a profound call to my soul. The more I learned, the more I realized that understanding Jesus fully required examining what he truly taught, worshiping one God, not himself. Interestingly, even Christian scholars in the last 2 centuries have questioned whether Jesus ever claimed divinity, showing that this doubt isn't just from outsiders, but from within Christianity itself. It was my cousin who challenged my Christianity the most. He was deeply involved with Muslims and would ask me difficult questions that forced me to research and rethink my beliefs. He introduced me to a closer view of Islam. Although he did not convert at the same time as I did, his presence and challenges were crucial to my journey. When I finally took the Shahada, I embraced the core declaration of God's oneness but still wrestled with accepting the Prophet Muhammad fully because of what I had been taught. I was cautious, unsure if he was truly God's messenger. Yet, as I continued studying the Prophet's life, I found it impossible to deny his unique role. The Prophet Muhammad was not just a warrior, but a compassionate leader who dealt with enemies and other faiths with justice and mercy. He established a society based on faith and fairness, something desperately needed today. The documented history of his life, unlike other religious figures, is thorough and verifiable, which gave me confidence beyond faith or imagination alone. The misconceptions about Islam being spread only by the sword bothered me deeply, especially coming from a background where Christianity was forcibly imposed. For me, the Muslim world wasn't just about conflict, it was about people freely choosing a path of faith. This perspective shaped my view profoundly. Conversion was not easy, especially within my family. My mother, deeply rooted in Catholicism, struggled with my decision. When I married and introduced my wife, who wore the hijab, to my devout grandmother, the initial shock gave way to quiet acceptance over time. There was pain in being rejected and tension in our conversations, but the birth of my children softened these divides. Slowly, bridges were rebuilt. Throughout this, the Muslim community became my true family, offering support and refuge when the world felt cold. Only one of my family members followed me into Islam, my cousin, my closest brother in faith. Our journey was lonely at times, torn from our original community, but that made our bond stronger. What stood out to me most about the Prophet Muhammad was his ability to build a just society based on faith, a model the modern world desperately needs. He showed how leadership can be rooted in compassion, fairness, and inclusion, a blueprint for resolving political, economic, and social struggles today. Among countless religions, Islam's simplicity, authenticity, and practical guidance stood out. Islam addresses every aspect of human life, offering hope and celebrating the goodness of humanity. It transcends race and ethnicity, guiding all of humanity toward a meaningful life. To describe Islam briefly, it reaffirms the message of the Ten Commandments: worship one God alone, reject idolatry, honor Jesus as a prophet, and fulfill his teachings of love and compassion. Jesus was a Muslim in the purest sense, one who submitted fully to God's will. Islam embodies this submission with clarity and purpose. For those unfamiliar with Islam, I encourage them not to miss the chance to engage with the Quran, the only fully preserved revelation in human history, and to truly know the Prophet Muhammad. Islam is more than a religion, it is a civilization offering rich guidance and wisdom for all people. Taking from its teachings what benefits humanity can lead to peace and understanding in a fractured world.